For all auditions, please use the elevator on the left. For all auditions, please use the elevator on the left.
My cousin's in pictures. That business is entirely civil. If you could just leave me back at the ship, I'm sure there's something ought to be fixing now.
Great! You made it! Listen, I know you're expecting a script, but you're the real deal. Just go in there and do what feels natural. We gave the other actors real weapons to keep things authentic. And because Josh is paying to see their logo on the big screen. See, I knew you'd get it. Now go in there, find your mark, and show us what you got.
Well, well. Here to stop us at last, Captain Steele? You're too late. All of this settlement CNP Hungry Time food pills, same nutritional value but now with added filler, are ours. With their patented stomach stuffing effects and baseline vitamin content, we will be nigh unstoppable. They are? What an unexpected twist! You may have fooled me for now, but not for long.
Are we on camera now? Because I really don't care to be.
Do you remember the last time we faced each other? The Battle of Axejack, staring one another down across the void of space while flaming debris fell like rain around us. What indeed? I had you surrounded and outgunned, but you overcame my superior numbers with tactical thinking and a Hammersmith limited edition grenade launcher. I've been waiting for 5 years now, and at last my day for vengeance has come. Yes, it is. I have this whole port wired with sub-micro energon transistors. Once we're away, I'll activate the gamma particulate field and the quantaponic chain reaction will turn this whole place into vaporized plasma. Oh, but there's nothing you can do. I hope you've paid your burial fees and signed your personal death and dismemberment waivers because this is the end for you. Line. Never mind, I think that's scene. To the break room, everyone. I need my Moab fizzy tea.
Cut! That was interesting, kid. Real novel take. Let's take 5.
There's my star. Walk and talk with me. Hey, listen, I appreciate what you tried there. We've got to review your footage before we make a final decision, though. Look, sometimes you just gotta wait for your break, you know? Here, take this for making the trip down here. Don't call us. We'll call you.
Rizzo's mock apple cider. A hard cider for a hard life.
So, how many times have you seen Terror on Monarch?
Terror on Monarch.
I'm afraid I can't come down anymore.
Hi, Grim.
Man, I'd have to request
Hello.
a waiver, and you know how dreadful the paperwork is. Don't I?
Not watching the debate, lol.
No. I'll probably look it over tomorrow, I just can't be asked tonight.
Looking for weapons? You've come to the right place. Every Byzantine needs high-quality armaments, and you won't find better anywhere else.
dissidents actually took over the refinery.
I guess we're going to Fallbrook.
Okay. BBC's got a live feed of the debate, so I'll have odd looks at that.
Oh, can you believe this outfit? It's so handsome, I'm almost afraid to touch it. Well, I guess that's everything then. After all this time, I just have to actually do it now. You know, there's a part Junlei's been looking for to fix up the air cyclers. They only carried them on big colony ships, like the Hope. I know. For a while, it felt like everything I did was a little bit of help. And it meant I didn't have to ask her to be mine. Not yet. Not for real. Next time we dock with Groundbreaker, I'm doing it. I'll send June a message and ask her over. Oh, this is real scary, Captain. I'm grateful for all you done.
Guess I'll have to go and look at those different places to get that done.
Anti-Creo's energizing ointment.
Down there, a new ship. Doesn't look like any of the corporate freighters.
But what would they be doing here? And how did they ever get permission to land?
Perhaps we'll finally get some excitement out there.
So it's like the first half's all about Brexit. Johnson is definitely not going to be able to get a trade deal in the time that he says. He is offering certainty, but he's a pillock. Corbin is dithering because he doesn't want to come down on one side or the other, which means neither side trusts him. So, yeah. Get Brexit done is just another empty phrase, really. Doesn't mean anything. Even when it's voted through, if it's ever voted through. That's the beginning of years and years and years of trade negotiations. Johnson's clearly lying when he says the NHS will never be for sale. They've already had talks. Channel 4 revealed that.
Mine would be, forget about Brexit.
And now it looms over everything and influences everything. You have to stop it before you can do anything, and Corbyn just won't come down, won't lead.
The honorable path, yes?
Yep.
If you want to save the NHS, stop Brexit. If you want to save people's jobs, stop Brexit. If you want to preserve British freedoms, stop Brexit. It's just...
JC has always been anti-EU, hasn't he?
Historically, yeah. But his reasons make no sense. Even less sense than the Conservative ones. You kind of expect the Conservative Party traditionalists to be irrational and this sort of thing. You don't really expect the Labour Party to be so down on an internationalist project that guarantees workers' rights, human rights. Yeah, they think they'd be all for it. But
Lib Dems it is then.
depends on your seat. People got to vote tactically this time. So just not Tory. Yeah, there's no fix for
I'm
Ireland.
a Tory area.
It's fucked. Yeah, me too. My vote's never counted for anything. So, Bojo's saying we'll have a trade deal by the end of 2020. The EU-Canada deal, which he wants to model it on, took 7 years to negotiate. So, seems unlikely, shall we say.
C&P chicken and potatoes at C&P.
Hey, Doc Fenhill. Glad to see you ain't moved on from Groundbreaker yet.
Hey, Tobias. How's the leg?
Good as you left it, ma'am. Still bends and everything. Took some extra lead while I was on a job. Ellie here patching me up good. The other guy thought his ship was perfectly operational. I told him it was salvage. We disagreed. I won.
Workplace hazards, Captain. Pretty routine around here.
My area voted for Remain, but I guess people still vote Tory even though our current MP is pro-Brexit.
This is the, yeah, it's so tribalistic, and this is the problem though. People are going to vote on Brexit because it is such an overriding issue, but whatever party gets in, they're going to take it as approval for their whole strategy. So if any Labour areas are stupid enough to back Brexit and vote for the Tories off the back of that, they're going to get a Tory government good and hard in every other degree, acting as though they have any sort of mandate. It's fucked.
That's a good question. Yes? Yes, that sounds right. I'll make sure to include that in the new employee salvage tutorial.
Yeah.
Swell. Has anyone from HR given you the new employee talk? I don't actually know. That answers for both questions. Here goes. Welcome to Sublight, where salvage runs thicker than blood. We're still trying out new slogans. Sublight. Because what's your alternative? Hey, that's not a bad slogan. Thanks. Glad to have you on board. We could use the help after what happened to the last contractor. No, I didn't. Oh, that. Just stay in Miss Lilia's good side. Stealing office supplies is a good way to end up as salvage, if you know what I mean. Knew you were a smart guy.
Is it done? Well, damn. Contractor grew a conscience. As your employer, I'm both angry and disappointed. I'll add that to your file. Technically, I owe you an exit interview. Care to justify your betrayal of our species, or are we finished here? You're awfully quick to trust someone who offed her colleagues and called it a good start. Out of my office. We're done.
This is why I always ask for half my payment up front.
You think maybe she's got an itchy trigger finger? I don't want to find out.
Time for you to move along. You keep lingering like this, I'm bound to get nervous.
Didn't even give me a chance to explain.
CNP near maple syrup. It's near this complete breakfast.
See, they were asked how they could be trusted, and they can't. Well, I trust Corbyn more than Johnson, I just don't agree with him very much. Johnson says trust in politics and Parliament has been corroded by Parliament's refusal to honour the referendum. I think that's a little bit disingenuous. The reason that a lot of us no longer trust Parliament is because they allowed the corrupt referendum to go through and haven't managed to stop it. And Johnson's been covering up the report into foreign interference in the referendum and our elections. You're not really a democracy if you let that kind of corruption just go. Blocking Brexit is the democratic right thing to do, and we're a representative democracy, not a direct democracy. You cannot trust Johnson at all. He's an inveterate liar. To ask both of them that question is frankly insulting.
Ellie and Max are engaged in a heated discussion in the kitchen. We're now in orbit above Fallbrook, Captain.
Change the tone. Boris is just being fucking awful from the looks of it. Audience has been slapping him around a bit from the looks of it.
I think I'll initiate an unscheduled rest cycle while you're out.
Johnson's talked about recruiting 20,000 more police officers, but since 2010, the number of police officers have decreased by 20,500, so wouldn't even replace them. And Bobby's on the beat is one of the least effective, least cost-efficient ways to do policing. Might make people feel safer, but it won't necessarily make them any safer.
Said you docked 3 days ago?
Give or take, it's all a bit crazy when I think about it.
So, was Fallbrook all you'd hoped for?
Why can't Johnson just admit he's hate the NHS and wants to sell it?
What a glowing endorsement.
Because nobody, well, some people would still vote for him, but most people wouldn't. So I think he's in a kind of Trump-esque position at the moment. He could do whatever he wants, as long as he delivers Brexit, whatever that means. People still back him.
This looks like the place. You ready to get my money or what?
I see you're still in one piece. However, you never know when that could change. Consider our accidentally torn into tiny fragments coverage. Note that all of your fragments must be recovered and must be smaller than a standard.
Deliver a cold pizza.
headset
What up,
screwed
yo?
Oh, how you doing? Headset just screwed up, so if you were just saying something, I didn't hear it.
I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhill can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead.
Daniel
If
was
we let
just
every
calling
friend's
you
relative
stupid.
and
I heard
acquaintance
him.
change a policy like that,
sounds about
people
right.
would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Oh, you mean hypothetically?
Hey.
Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd, theoretically, add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud.
I didn't say that.
That's for the best. What can I do for you?
Yes, you did, don't lie. No, I didn't. I've been watching Grim's videos for 4 years. I would never say that.
Can we talk? You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it.
I don't really believe you did. It's okay. Damned headset keeps cutting out. And the cable's not quite long enough.
I've never been prouder to stand back and watch someone else work. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs.
I want to get some wireless earbuds.
Well, these are normally wireless, so I thought it might be a power issue, so...
Come on, I thought we were celebrating. You want me to think about the future? Maybe you haven't noticed, but you can't even count on a bribe making it into the right pocket. What's the point of planning for anything around here? Hate to say it, but Halcyon's already
An ouch
there.
moment for Jeremy Corbyn
Anyway,
there.
enough
A
of
loud
that.
laugh as
You
he
did a job for
explains
me,
plan for
so here's your
4-day
fee.
working week.
Now, at one point we were working 6 days a week.
Don't make it weird. Even you've got to be in it for the money now and then. Why else would you go through all this trouble? You sure? Because my kind of friends will pick your pocket clean while they're getting hammered with you. You don't have to get all mushy about it. Still, maybe you've got a point. Maybe it's good to watch someone's back now and then so that one day they watch yours. So, you just keep the money. One of us has to look out for your interests. Don't mention it. Really, this feels weird enough as it is. Something on your mind?
I've been playing Magic again since they banned a stupidly overpowered card everyone was using. Now I'm back to losing half the time instead of all the time.
Onwards and upwards. Right, what's next? See what else we've been talking about. NHS. Can't trust the tourists with the NHS. Bojo making excuses and overrunning his time. Both promising money, but you can't trust a Tory when it comes to that.
Captain, Felix and the Vicar are arguing again.
I swear, next time we put into Groundbreaker, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna ask her over. Oh, I'm so nervous. Having trouble focusing on my work.
The Groundbreaker has approved our request for docking, Captain. You're free to disembark.
Oh wow, so the first highlighted option is to dismiss them entirely from the crew.
Yeah. Corbyn got a big round of applause when he said he wants to end private sector involvement in the NHS, which just kind of shows the mood of the country. Johnson lies, says he doesn't want that either. Reducing the working week to 32 hours, it's not exactly a 4-day week, but you know, we work more than most other European nations, so it's hard to see why that's so laughable. And yeah, we used to work 6 days a week. You save money on transport and so on, you open up more part-time positions. It's not necessarily as lunatic as it might sound to people, and he's not talking about a 4-day week, he's talking about a 32-hour week, which is different. And it is good for people's health and well-being, like you said. Yeah, Johnson caught out lying about upgrades and new hospitals.
How does he plan on making people work 32 hours?
How do I look?
You mean making them not work more than 32 hours?
Oh, my hands have finally stopped shaking. All right. Deep breath. Here I go.
Yeah, that.
Well, there's already a limit on how many hours a week you're supposed to work, isn't there, I think? Working week. We're not allowed to work more than 48 hours a week on average over 17 weeks currently. So 9 to 5 is 7 hours.
Most people are made to opt out of that.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't. I don't think you can actually opt out of that. There's your employer can't ask you to opt out of this limit. So that's...
Every job I've ever had, I've signed that away, I'm pretty sure.
It says here, according to Citizens Advice, your employer can't ask you to opt out. Might be for night work, though.
Perhaps there's another limit that I'm thinking of.
Your employer can't make you work more than 48 hours a week on average. Doesn't matter what your contract says, or if you don't have a written contract.
Wait, so he's just going to force people to work less hours? What if they need the money?
Think about it, we already only work, on average, 35 hours a week.
Is he going to make up the difference somehow?
Well, you can, under the current law, you can work more hours if you want.
You can
but
choose
it's your
to work
decision.
more than 8 hours a week on average if you're over 1/8. This is called opting out.
Yes,
Your
but they
employer
can't
can
make
ask you to opt out, but you can't be sacked or treated unfairly for refusing to do so.
Exactly, so this would just set a lower limit to that. I mean, normally people work around 35 hours a week anyway, so dropping that to 32 really doesn't make that much difference. You know, a couple of long lunches and you're there pretty much. So, yeah, it's not as big of an issue as people are saying. Both pledging to end austerity, but who brought it in? Even though it wasn't recommended. and doesn't seem to have done much to really help.
I'd rather he do something about 0-hour contracts.
Yeah, well, that hasn't come up, but I think they did talk about that.
I guarantee, in the real world, in a large business, you will not be working for much longer if you refuse to go beyond the limit.
Get some good compensation claims then, frankly. Corbin has said something about 0-hour contracts. Where is it? Yeah, getting rid of things like 0-hour contracts and increasing corporation tax. I mean, it is unfair of businesses to demand that you work not that much more.
We need to change our mindset from live to work to live.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
and that's going to be
so
even more of a thing
Dad,
as time continues to go on.
I ain't need your help. I can do it on my lonesome.
What did he say to that?
Have at it then. And he handed me his favorite wrench.
I've seen people who took the most sick leave mysteriously be the first selected for redundancy.
Talking back to him?
Or are they genuinely sick or not? Yeah, it's the same as it's the same kind of slightly nebulous territory as, you know, is the company being sexist, or does it just appear that way because they're firing certain people?
Anyone who helped shape you must
What's the
have been a
deal?
special person.
It's a tricky thing to work out, but we do see plenty of successful.
We have to carefully and willfully evolve toward eliminating these unwritten rules of non-compliance.
Yeah.
HR go through a process,
He had notions of how
but
the
it's all
station
just lip service.
and I had others. He was fond of saying,
Well, there are successes, so of challenging these things, and it can help shift the culture if you bring the force of law to bear.
Tech department. They get shown a list of skills that the company says they need. Funny enough, they don't have any of them. So get picked for redundancy.
Yeah, but like you say, the culture needs to change. Our work culture is closer to American culture, but even they would consider us lazy bastards. But compared to mainland Europe, we're workaholics. But yeah, something's got to give, because...
Indeed.
Well, work's going away, and it can't be your identity anymore, really.
Has CJ talked about automation?
No, I don't think so. I'm not listening to the actual debate, I'm going through the BBC
malicious
summaries.
compliance subreddit has wonderful stories of employees mucking up bad faith employers, ESP, ones that abuse temp and party.
Yeah. When I lost my job due to my boss embezzling, I may have walked off with some stuff many years ago. People are pretty divided on the monarchy. I guess that's all thanks to Prince Andrew. I think even staunch small R Republicans like me think Liz is alright, but the rest of them... I'll have to watch the debate, but for me it seems like Boris is coming off as kind of bluster and
That
desperation.
fellow... The FBI need to come for him. He knows things.
Can we leave the ship just to go back in? Stupid quests.
No adult man of genetic health has a dumbness like he's portraying. Too much a man of honor, or whatever nonsense he uttered. Could he be granted diplomatic immunity?
He's not an official diplomat. I don't know what the rules are about. I mean, he's in the inner circle of the royal family, so I don't know where you stand
Prince
legally.
Andrew's fiasco is a smokescreen to cover up the rumors of Prince Charles buggering his servants. What? Really? Charles is rumored to be doing that?
Being as anti-royalist as I am, I think I would have heard about that.
Discussion in the kitchen.
Okay, Captain, she's gone.
There was a report about 10 years ago, I think. Pooh-pooh. Are these debates really a good forum for politicians to get across their ideas?
No.
See what I did there?
I'm near about vibrating. I'm so excited. So she got here, and after a few minutes, she said, "Hey, do you have some new parts?" And I was like, "Nah, I used a new soap." And then she just sort of touched my arm real gentle-like and called the cut of my outfit elegant. I couldn't hear the rest on account of my heart was beating so hard. Then I led her into the kitchen. I think she about cried when she saw the spread. She stood stock still and just said, "Oh, real soft." Oh, and let
That
me tell
has
you,
so
I
many
was
wonderful
sweating.
double
And then
entenders.
she blinked and said, "Is that dustbat casserole?" I told her
The
how we got
spread,
Mr. Raymond to
indeed.
bake it for us, so it was double authentic. Made by a real live monarch person.
Look at this picture of the Johnson-Corbyn handshake. Bojo's doing the Trump power move, the power handshake thing, that just looks dickish. You know, where you put your other arm on the person while you're shaking their hand.
Well, we talked a bunch over dinner about the things we learned just through messages, stuff we repaired, how I taught her to salvage and she taught me to build. When I brung out the sweetheart cakes, June, she got a little teary, said she had a thing
Did he
she
pull
needed to
him
say.
towards him too?
But
I
I
don't
stopped
know,
her
because
'cause
I
I
haven't
wanted to
seen
say
their
it first.
video, but it's just
I never felt
just
so
a little
bold,
interesting
Captain.
thing to note. Weirdly, in this image, it
And
makes
a
him
bot
look
orange
weak.
man tends to pull you in towards him so that you're off balance. Real dickish. The tractor beam maneuver.
Yeah, it's hard to tell this picture, but possibly. But it looks more like it actually makes Corbyn look more in charge.
I told her about how she made me feel. Bold like I acted, strong, smarter and kinder than I am on my lonesome. I listed all the things I liked about her. And then she pulled out a paper and read a speech. She talked about the things she admired about me, like my cleverness and my humor, and how it made her want to be more open. Anyhow, when she wrapped up, I asked her to be my girlfriend. And Captain, she said yes!
If he wanted to really put him off, he should have stroked his hair
All on your account,
affectionately.
though. Imagine if you'd never taken me out of Edgewater. I'd have never met June Lay at all. I don't know nothing about the Vicar's capital P plan, but you've sure changed my life. So, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna head to my cabin and happy scream into my pillow for like an hour.
This NPC bilge sounds like something the devs responsible for the Vomitus Mass Effect, Andromeda would have foisted on us. She gay. You just realized.
She's not only gay, but asexual. So, yes. I mean, apart from that, she's a fun, interesting character. And I was quite happy to run around doing errands so that she could get together with someone who made a much appreciated difference from me doing fetch quests to get someone else into bed for once. But yeah, she's a bit tokeny-wokeny. But it's not too offensive. It's done reasonably well. They put the effort in with her, I think.
Peter pansexual.
Oh, I can't be asked running
Bangs
around
like a privy door during the plague.
It's Blackadder, isn't it? Bangs like the privy door when the plague's in town.
We are now in orbit above Byzantium.
You mean Lolabido.
If you prefer.
What does asexual actually mean? What do asexual people do?
Who
Have
bloody knows?
relationships without the sex?
It's called a friendship, isn't it? Who knows? I don't know.
Coming up next is a furry NPC. Then one of the full-on SJW cultists with multicolored hair and a mishmash of tattoos, piercings, massive stew. Some brilliant one-liners in Blackadder.
Yeah. It's I don't know, it's the whole asexual thing is an outside context problem for me. So.
I'm a hitman that doesn't kill anyone.
Keep the medic around. Nah, let's take a slightly dodgy guy with me instead. I quite like the armor designs in this. Though it felt like you progressed to the super heavy armor a bit quickly.
YouGov Sky News Snapchat poll: who performed best? Johnson 5-1 LOL.
From reading it, it didn't seem like he came across well, but I suppose he's got a half-decent persona and
The fact
way
that I
about
am
him.
not an ennobled millionaire with the sexual capacity of a rutting rhino is a source of constant irritation. As far as I know, asexual means a person with a non-sex life rather than a sex life. They are not sexual in the same way that baseline folk are. None.
Yeah, well, trouble is, these words and their meanings are so in flux. It's
I know a girl who identifies as asexual. She says won't have sex with someone without feeling loved.
that's different. That's not asexual. That's something else. I can't remember what the bloody word for it is, but there's so many. How could I? Yeah, that's something else.
Do you mind? I'm meeting someone.
What's frigid then?
No names, okay? The Phoenix is a wanted man, and
The
the
third
board has
Frozen
eyes
movie?
everywhere in Byzantium.
A prude? In her context, love, money.
Yeah. You're looking to make contact with Minister... Magpie,
Captain Darling is an innuendo-filling
I should
dream.
warn you, it won't be easy. He spends most of his time in this estate, which is heavily guarded.
The League Against
That's
Tedium
called
has some
having
good
a traditional view on
one-liners.
relationships, but edgy teenagers refer to it as demisexual.
Yes, that's it.
Whoa, I'm not one of your B&E specialists. I just provide intelligence. Some of the guards hang around Billingsley's House of Inebriation between shifts. Maybe you could do some reconnaissance there. You know, swipe a key while nobody's looking.
Frigid is a woman who freezes you out of sex like
Just
it's a
remember,
chore,
you
not
didn't
an
hear it from me.
enjoyable recreation that can be an expression of lust or intimacy. T.
I've always been fascinated by birds. If you ever research Earth species, there are thousands of them, so colorful and distinct. The other thing about birds, though, is their environmental indicators. Exactly. I started thinking about everything we see around Halcyon, and all the things we don't see. For starters,
That's where
you
the
rarely come
Commodore's
across
song
anyone
comes
living
from
in
then.
Byzantium who wasn't born here, even though we get ships in all the time. Doesn't that seem strange to you? And then there's the way nothing gets fixed. There used to be a suggestion box around here.
Doesn't demisexual also entail being attracted to both men and women?
Sounds like my old job. I had all these bang-up ideas, you know? Like making everybody haul their own damn boxes.
No.
Never did catch
Possibly.
on, though.
I've heard some people use
That's what I
something to
mean.
say that
Everyone needs a suggestion box so they can voice their thoughts.
Isn't
So what if
Hercules a
nothing changes?
demisexual?
I've heard some people say they can feel romantic feelings for anyone, and it's the romantic feelings that matter, not anything else. But that's probably something else, or combined terms. It gets confusing.
Sure, that part is. That's why they install shredders in those boxes after all.
Isn't that
But one day
bisexual?
the shredder broke. No one came to fix it. And since it
No,
wasn't
because
working,
the
we didn't have
romantic
anywhere to file
aspect, I
complaints.
guess.
So you can
That's
imagine how messy
pansexual.
things got.
Don't ask me.
At first, management put up an out-of-order sign, but that just seemed to worry people. Like they were advertising something wasn't
It's a
working.
prudish bisexual.
Why would the Golden City need suggestions for improvement?
It's really so people
You're
can feel
meant to
heard.
know these things,
Everyone's
Grim.
got something to complain about,
I
you know?
struggle to comprehend them.
They eventually took
Grim
a
is the
whole
Louvre
suggestion
doctor.
box sign down so that
You're in trouble if I'm
Compresexual,
your love doctor.
complicated.
But they never fixed it. Never
Needlessly
replaced
complicated
it.
section.
Doesn't that seem odd to you? The whole episode made me wonder. If they can't fix something as simple as a suggestion box, what else aren't they fixing? After a while, I got connected with our mutual friend and started using my position here to feed him information when I could. That's it, really.
Greek letter mu, sexual. I'm sure there's a wiki specifically for this.
Yeah, probably. Geek Feminism Wiki, I would think. Alright, so... what's next?
It's not gonna fix itself.
Lossie Green is a sex expert seemingly.
What do you think you're doing?
Why did it automatically pick that stuff up?
All right. Come on.
Oh, it's not like I care about my reputation with the board in any case.
I think the three sexualities we already have are all that's necessary. Straight, gay, and very gay?
Anti-cryospatial mass skin leaves you feeling fresh and tingling. Do not operate heavy machinery for 2 hours after application.
That episode from a few weeks ago?
I think there are a lot of people who may disagree.
Your best find this week. So, how does it
Richard
feel?
Simmons, Elton John, gay?
Serving an instrument of corporate supremacy?
Oh, I wouldn't know. I've given up my days of being a cog.
Ah, but Callum, you see, gender is on a spectrum, so therefore sexuality must also be on a spectrum to account for the infinite variations.
Sinclair gender.
Liberace levels of happiness. As long as you both consent and are happy, where is the problem?
Exactly. Who cares? Chef bot.
Liberace was gay? Milo sassiness.
Have you tried
I
our
recall
new
Elton
cocktails
John
sponsored by
marrying a
Rizzo's?
female.
One part
Yeah, that
purple
was.
Spectrum
He
vodka,
said
one
that was a
part
mistake.
artificial tomato-like substitute juice. We call it a Blue Bloody Mary. Oh, by all means, ask away. Do you know Celeste Joliker? I've heard she's working on some spectacular new design. I don't believe in work.
Those NPC eyes are
Work is
creepy.
for automechanicals and lower classes.
What if everything since was a mistake
By
and he
automechanicals,
reverts
of
to being
course.
straight?
Byzantium's
That would
fleet
be a
of
turn
mechanical
for the books.
servitors are programmed
Looks
to
like a
simulate
pernicious
labor
Conan
force, but without
O'Brien.
all the
So it looks
Golden
like
eyes.
Conan
workers
O'Brien.
milling about. We all have our roles in society. I like to think of myself as an entrepreneur. This drinking establishment is my investment.
Right, so there's the guard. So let's save just to be on the safe side.
Hey, stand back. You. I'm part of Minister Clark's personal detail, and that means you gotta keep 5 feet back at all times.
Hello, stranger. Since
But
we've
I'm
just
not on
met,
the job
I'll tell
right
you all
now.
kinds of personal,
others took
intimate
me out to
information that
celebrate on
couldn't
account of
possibly be
me
used against
just
me.
getting hired and
MR
all.
Potato Head.
He's basically the most important person in the colony, which makes me the most important guard in the colony. Yeah. That means I got a key to the minister's estate, my own personal UDL-issued shotgun. They don't give those out to just anyone. Yep.
Looks a
I've
bit
nearly
like
made
a
it to the
younger,
top, my
lighter
friend.
Tom Sizemore.
I'm just 2 promotions away from on-the-job bathroom breaks. That's a great idea! I'll have a Spectrum vodka.
Happens to me all the time. You would not believe the number of times people come and tell me all their secrets when I get on the bus. With a bit of Clancy Brown thrown in. Pre-crack Tom Sizemore.
What can I do for you?
Actually need to buy booze.
Then you'll want to speak with our automechanical inebriation assistant, located just over there.
Okay.
Quite so. but I would never lower myself to do something as gauche as tending bar. My automechanical assistant does all the work for me.
Clancy Brown is Lyndon B. Johnson in the latest season of The Crown.
Please allow me to improve your drinking experience with fine cocktails and pre-approved banter.
I know, as a royalist, that The Crown is one of Jim's favorites.
Hey, you look familiar. Have we met before?
Imagine the hybrid love-child monster that would result from fusing the DNA of Gary Busey and Tom Sizemore.
It would be unstoppable.
We should be friends. Wow, listen to me. I'm soaked. I should probably slow down before I'm face down on the tile somewhere.
Jim would replace the St. Edward's crown with the Stetson. I can't wait for The Crown to get to season 6, so we can get the inside story on Prince Andrew's antics with Epstein.
Alright. Clearly I'm going to need to buy up the stock of Spectrum vodka.
Experience with fine cocktails and pre-approved banter.
Hey, you look familiar.
Epstein's guards have been charged. I hope that Ronan Farrow's next project is the Epstein murder.
Wow, you've got like this crazy energy.
What have they been charged with?
Ever told you that? You're like
just gross incompetence? Or?
You got a Manosaur energy. Oh, Laws. I gotta stop. I'm seeing at least 2 of you. I really shouldn't. I'll have the worst hangover tomorrow if I don't stop. You know, that's a very good point. Yeah. Was that one supposed to taste like Purple Berry Crunch? Or am I just...
2 prison guards charged with conspiracy and filing false records on the night of Jeffrey Epstein's death. Falsifying records of having checked in on him every 30 minutes.
We're one with the shadows, boss.
And dereliction of duty.
Oink. Guess they were bribed or something then.
Is one healthy if they are well adjusted to a sick society?
Or vigilantism. It's an outside possibility, have to be fair.
Amnesty International is reporting 100 civilian deaths at the hands of security forces in Iran as today marks day 3 or 4 of large street skipping the rest.
This property is off limits.
Small-scale rioting.
Loiterers and uninvited visitors will be fined to the fullest extent of company policy. This ultimatum brought to you by Universal Defense Logistics.
Gotta disguise for a while. Aha.
I reckon it's one of the Z-list celebrities that Epstein secretly hung around with. Timmy Mallet or someone like that. Couldn't risk the story coming out. The coroner found a whack-a-plaster on Epstein's neck. He was hung, not beaten to death with the sponge hammer. I find it darkly humorous that Andrew mentioned a pizza party as a reason why he couldn't have been at a certain problematic sex fest.
Yeah.
Given the Pizzagate child sex abuse conspiracy theory, it was a signal for all the pizza elites to help him out. I wonder if it was a dog whistle to fellow abusers that he was sticking to the story.
Right, I'm gonna take my meds. Back in a sec.
Maybe he was abusing people at the Pizza Express private function room instead? As a sheer coincidence. Oh God. We've come full circle. So did Prince Andrew. Part of why he's in trouble.
Running low on pills, so I better sort that out before I do anything else.
There is a private eye cover from years ago where Andrew is offering both his daughters for $15K.
There's my meds reordered. Hooray for the internet. No human interaction needed.
My pharmacy automatically reorders my meds. I just have to pick them up. They offered to deliver them, but I decided to collect, else I would.
This is going to end up in a firefight, because I'm going to have to kill the guy, so...
Why is everyone here on medication?
Brain issues for me.
Wow! How'd you do that?
Cause I'm psychotic.
I'd better take a look. Hey! Me? I'm watching for suspicious activity.
I always knew that brain of yours would get you in trouble.
Look,
yeah.
I don't have any visitors on file
It's always
today,
the quiet ones.
UDL related or otherwise. I won't report this, but you need to leave.
What does being psychotic mean?
Hey, small cat, what do you want?
No sharp objects.
Oops, there's an upper floor. Just want to get there. No, that's the exit.
Lawbreaker! I saw that! I don't know what you're up to, soldier, but you'd better have a good reason for being here. What are you talking about? I'm just doing my job. Fine, but you'd better get out of here. If I catch you again, it'll be a different story.
Must be a lift or that stairs. Derp. There's me looking for a complicated solution.
How did you get in here? You're not one of my guards. What are you doing here?
I don't know if I trust this so-called minister fella, if that is his real name.
Minister Clark, what a remarkable honor it is to meet you.
If this is about another Aetherwave clip or radio spot, you may kindly fuck off, as the parlance goes. I'm not doing any more.
He did us war.
What else would it be? I don't have any drugs. You should try a vending machine or a purveyor of curative goods.
I ain't buying it, boss. I said we check him for drugs.
Will that be all, then? Process of elimination. The only other person with access? Of course. It's Rockwell again. Who else? And I thought he was only holding me here to keep me out of the way.
Holding here?
You are a quick study, indeed. I've long suspected Rockwell of transacting business in my name, but this proves it.
He's attempting to game the system, but he won't be able to get away with it forever. Eventually, Rockwell's house of cards will topple.
I dearly hope so, and you might be part of the equation. Whatever it is that brought you here, Rockwell's the one behind it. Whatever Rockwell's doing, he'll be doing it from the HHC headquarters. Your best lead is to look for details in his office.
If by look for details he means knock things about and take what we like, count me in.
Sounds about right.
That's certainly one way of doing things. Far be it from me to dictate your methods.
Captain, we must investigate Rockwell. An injustice like this cannot go unchecked.
Indeed, it cannot. I can't overstate the urgency of the matter. Why, this is starting to sound like an issue of Dissident Hunter. Via the Acropolis District, of course. That's where the most important corporate and government facilities are. But only board employees are allowed into the district. There's a heavily guarded checkpoint just down the street. There might be a route through the maintenance tunnels, but I'm afraid I don't know specifics. Most people avoid the area for obvious reasons. Well, you won't have much human company down there. Plenty of sprats and automechanicals, though. When you reach the HHC building, this access card should get you up to the executive suites, where the chairman's office and what used to be my office are. The board's lackeys are none too bright. I simply claimed I'd lost it and hid it somewhere no one would think to look. I merely hid it in a book. No one reads anything longer than a few pages around here.
Obviously, the chairman
surrounds himself with the cream of
Byzantium's elite.
There are a few advantages to dealing with imbeciles. Wait! Rockwell has one of the only terminals capable of transmitting to the Earthbound message drone. This is our chance. Please, take this and transmit it from his office. Rockwell hasn't given me any messages from Earth for years. He's desperate to keep me out of contact with the Earth Directorate. But they need to know what's happening here. What isn't on it is the real question. I've gathered meeting minutes, internal messages, sustainability reports, and more, all exposing the corruption and mismanagement plaguing Halcyon. Once the rest of the Earth Directorate sees it, they'll have to send help.
You're telling us you gathered up a whole mess of evidence on the board's corruption. How big is this cartridge again?
Large enough, I assure you. That's why you must transmit the data to the Earth Directorate and hope for their speedy intervention. Depending on the nature of their response, months at least, perhaps years. Organizing and sending personnel all the way out here is no mean feat. Perhaps there is hope after all. And now I entrust it to you. Good luck, and trust no one in the Acropolis District.
You know what your problem is, Vic?
I
have many. Oh.
Violence is part of the job description, pal. They don't pay me near enough to deal with crazy. Look, I'll let you go just this once. But you've got to leave, or I'm gonna have to do my job.
Huzzah for avoiding mass murder for once.
Was she one of Epstein's guards?
Oh, there. That's one right there. Can't you just see the stench of impropriety radiating off of him?
For the last time, access to Byzantium is impossible without a proper nav.
How splendid. Another rung leech wandering through the streets of Byzantium. Why, just this morning I thought to myself, as lovely as the gardens are, what they really need is more greasy vagrants frolicking through them. And here you are, frolicking. Admittedly. Now if only you could gracefully take a shower, preferably in whatever hovel you came from. Honestly, what is the board thinking letting so many of your ilk into the city proper? It's madness. I earned my place here, just like everyone else. My grandfather was the CIO at Tile, you see. I just told you. My grandfather made millions of bits as CIO, and I earned them from him. Of course it is. Wealth is the most visible, objective measure of success. And success isn't given to you, it's earned. My grandfather taught me that. If you have wealth, you're successful.
I've literally heard people make this argument.
You must have earned it. Honestly, it's a simple concept. Chief Idea Officer. He came up with all the best ideas for their products. You know the font they use for Stogie Slims? That was him. Well, he described the idea of it to their font development team, then picked it from a list of choices, but that's basically the same thing. It was a very long list. Let's see. He picked the colors they included in rainbow chips. No one else wanted purple, but he insisted. Everyone loves the purple ones. And you know how the Cosmic Smokes logo has an eye in the middle of a heptagon? He said that one came to him in a dream. He was a true visionary, so far ahead of his time. You're welcome. Now, do we have any further business, or are you just here for the repartee? What's wrong? It erodes the very pillars of our society. Merit, decorum, personal hygiene. This city is meant for us, the system's finest. We earned its luxuries. But now we are overrun with the unworthy and the ungrateful, and this early retirement nonsense is making it even worse. The worst thing to happen to Halcyon, a contest that gives even the lowliest, most inefficient workers a chance to live in Byzantium. By simply winning a lottery, those early retirees get an exclusive district of Byzantium to themselves. No one else is even allowed to go there. Tell me, how is that fair?
They're probably being killed or something.
Oh, by the law.
Is she on about Byzantium or Saudi Arabia?
It's not right. I deserve to see any district I please. Why, if it weren't guarded, I'd... You know, you look like you've been shot at before. What say I hire you to investigate this travesty, and you get paid to do so?
Oh, we get paid this time. I like this plan.
Yes. Listen to your... What is that person's job exactly? Are they your secretary? Personal masseuse? Or do you just keep them around as a mobile armrest?
Mostly the
latter.
latter.
It doesn't matter. What's important is that you think this is a fabulous arrangement, and you'd be thrilled to lend me your services. Aren't you? Fantastic. Consider yourself employed, vagrant. I hear the chosen retirees all enter the retirement district via the port landing pad, but it's completely locked down. You'd never get in that way. Unless, of course, you had a wealthy, beautiful benefactor of impeccable social pedigree. Which you do. How fortunate for you. These codes will get you past the lockdown. Oh, and don't worry about subtlety. I don't care how you deal with security, just correct this injustice at all costs. The same way anyone gets anything here, of course. I made friends with the right people. Bits might earn you a place in Byzantium, but that means everyone here has little need for more of them. For favors like this, you need to spend... let's call it social capital.
Okay, let's deal with this first then. Do.
Hey, Vic. Got a good one for you.
I am certain you do, Mr. Millstone. Please proceed.
How'd the Grand Architect make a Borst pocket so big even he couldn't eat it?
Believe it or not, we spent many hours arguing questions as ridiculous as that in my seminary days.
Uh-huh. Keep talking, Vic. I know when I got you beat.
Is Mayfield still drinking?
Idiot's probably face down on the bar by now.
Take it easy. I don't think you can get into any trouble for that.
Remember that stranger I saw in the square? Shh. The one with the low-rent personal security detail. Honestly, I think...
I only wish they weren't showing so many Spacers' Choice ads in the commercial breaks. Who do they think?
Anti-Cleo's antibiotics. Take comfort in knowing that anything antibiotics cannot solve will probably...
Wouldn't it be something to see an Earth assault cruiser land here? Don't be ridiculous. There's no way one...
Spacer's Choice Zero G Brew. An ale that's good for what ails you.
Hortensia's in the...
That's the last of them.
Finally. Is it just me, or are we getting more and more retired lately? All right, listen up.
Welcome to the Halcyon Holdings Corporation Early Retirement Center. You, the lucky few, have been selected to spend the rest of your days living the high life in your own private district in Byzantium. When you arrive, you'll be whisked away to your very own luxury penthouse, furnished exclusively by 24/7 Furniture's deluxe Falscowood collection. Some assembly required. 24/7 Furniture is not responsible for any injury, psychological damage, or divorce litigations that occur during the assembly process. After you get settled in, you'll have the chance to explore your new home. Why not go for a bite at one of our many restaurants, like CNP's Blazing Borscht Barbecue or Rizzo's All-You-Can-Crunch Cereal Buffet? Or maybe you'd like to head to the bar and enjoy an ice-cold Zero-G Brew by Spacer's Choice. Zero-G Brew, an ale that's good for what ails you, although in the early retirement district, nothing will. All this and more will be complimentary for the entirety of your stay, courtesy of the Halcyon Holdings Corporation. You won't have to spend a bit. So relax, grab a refreshment from one of our vending machines, and enjoy our specially constructed welcome center. While you're here, be sure to check out the displays for some fun facts about the early retirement program and selection process. Then, once you're ready, enter the elevator at the end of the hall and leave your troubles behind. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Today is the first day of your early retirement. Congratulations. Welcome to the Halcyon Holdings Corporation Early Retirement Center. You, the lucky few, have been selected to spend the rest of your days.
Death booths, you become fertilizer.
In your own private district in Byzantium. When you arrive, you'll be whisked away to your very own luxury penthouse, furnished exclusively by 24/7 Furniture's deluxe Falscowood collection. Some assembly required. 24/7 Furniture is not responsible for any injury, psychological damage, or divorce litigation. After you get settled in, you'll have... Why not go for a bite at one of our many restaurants, like CNP's Blazing Borscht Barbecue or Rizzo's All-You-Can-Crunch Cereal Buffet? Or maybe you'd like to head to the bar and enjoy an ice-cold Zero-G Brew by Spacer's Choice.
Definitely giving off horror vibes.
All you can crunch cereal buffet, ha ha ha.
Yeah, that's gonna be mass murder then.
System of beginning security.
But where is the cereal?
Serial killers, must be.
Nice one, Captain. We're too tough. Try something else.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day was ruined.
Everyone all right?
Can I not destroy them? Guess not. Just in case you didn't think they were evil enough already. Bones are crunchy, so they must be cereal. rifle be being used to murderize people, so I think I may have to still deal with them.
You're a deft hand for the mag pick.
Oh no, the board are now angry.
I think genocide counts as fighting words.
Oh, that's the last of him.
Down.
He's getting away.
Not for long.
Wow, that lag.
wonder if that lady will have a change of heart when she realizes that poor people are being murderized. Sounds like there's another robot somewhere. Yeah.
Here we go. Hold out gun. That's the last of them.
They were merely doing a public service by reducing the surplus population.
Perhaps, but it seems like an extreme way to go about it. Hear more sprats somewhere. Definitely hear another sprat somewhere.
Maybe it's upstairs.
Maybe. Yeah. Seems like the way out.
One's done for.
It's marked as an enemy, but you can't shoot it. Doesn't make a great deal of sense.
Looks like we're doing this.
Okay. Didn't do anything. No idea what's going on or why coming in here was bad.
Huh?
We've got trouble!
What?
I'm guessing slaughtering all those robots is what caused this to happen. far the guards are all after me now. Where's that noise?
What was that?
Just act like we...
Oh, good. A fight.
Tories and labor-tired old parties, Swinson.
She's not wrong.
This is bad!
Hung Parliament?
To me, that still seems like the most plausible outcome.
Now, as I was saying,
but
just act like we belong.
the Tories do have a big enough lead to get a majority at the moment. I don't see or understand how or why, but they do. So that really depends on the polls, and then polls really don't necessarily reflect seats, even if the polls are accurate in this country. Okay, so she must have got killed in the crossfire, because I can't do that now. Damn it. I still did the right thing.
was that?
There's one down!
Oh, that's the last of him.
Oh my god, I just got a mythic rare card in a booster pack.
Nice.
You're an artist, Captain.
All this stealing may affect your reputation with the board.
Fuck the board at this point.
Look at this fancy office. Chairman's bleeding the whole colony dry.
Good afternoon. I'm Chairman Rockwell, and I'm here to address a serious issue facing us. As you all know, our colony has been successful beyond our wildest dreams. Unfortunately, we've recently discovered that our food supply will not be able to sustain Halcyon's population in the long term. Everyone will die. Everyone will slowly stop living from malnutrition. But we're doing it together, and that's what matters. I fucking swear, if someone doesn't give me something to read that will placate the masses soon, all of you will find yourselves violently unemployed. But I can assure you there's nothing to fear. We've got a solution. It's called the Lifetime Employment Program. We will freeze most of the colony to preserve resources, while the best and brightest of Byzantium continue living in prosperity. Look, you idiots! How many times do I have to tell you we can't say shit like that? Fire whoever wrote this! While Halcyon's brightest minds solve the problem of our nutritional shortage, the rest of the colony will be placed in suspended animation. Individuals will be revived on a rotating basis, so that every Halcyonite can be part of the important work of saving our colony. By testing paperweights. Sorry, couldn't resist. Let's go again. And someday, in the not-too-distant future when we've solved this crisis, we'll all be back together again working for the good of Halcyon. Until then, the board shall provide for the deserving just as it always has. So, Obey your supervisors, take your vitamins, follow your corporate-mandated grooming rituals, and rest assured with the board on your side, there is nothing to worry about.
Always knew the board was crooked, but this is just evil.
Well, that was some quite distressing information. Can we talk?
Yeah, in a minute.
Chairman Mao crossed with Brezhnev.
If I still believed in the grand plan, a revelation like this would have seriously shaken my faith. Knowing you, I can only assume you have already begun formulating a plan to deal with this. So tell me, what are we going to do? Yes, of course. And when you do, you can count on me to back your play. Your instincts haven't failed us so far. Anything you'd like to discuss? I wouldn't say my parents disowned me, strictly speaking. But before they died, they accused me of thoughtlessly abandoning them. I couldn't understand it. I was only trying to make them proud by becoming a better vessel for the plan, to feel the joy they felt. I was so certain my potential was wasted as a laborer, and was willing to risk everything just to prove to them that they were wrong. I was lost, misguided.
much for tossball, Max.
I still find it a pleasant diversion.
What with being of church, man? Don't it take the fun out of tossball if the winner is predetermined by the law?
The only thing that takes the fun out of tossball is the Chosen's new fool of a coach.
We actually agreeing on something? I think we are. Heads up! Yeah! That's what you get!
International Men's Day, any better this year?
Seemed quieter this year than previous. Less stuff in the news and so on about it, but I guess they got loads of other things to talk about. With elections and scandals and everything else.
I guess it was taboo around the Labour Party.
Yeah, probably.
I guess they say Boris and CJ is an ex-mole of men's power.
There's a few articles on the BBC site, but I didn't see anything come up. Really? Just, it never gets anything like the attention that Women's Day does. I guess it's not surprising.
What was that?
Heads up, boss! Nice! Gotta get back,
I guess if we murderize them all, they can't hurt us.
Nobody messes with you, boss!
Where'd all these people come from?
It's all in the wrist. Impressive as always.
What do you think you're doing?
Stealing his purple berry crunch.
Here they come.
Please, I don't want to die. Don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
How's Charlie doing?
He's alright. I built a nest for him. He's actually sleeping in it, so that's good. And he climbed up on the bed last night because he was cold. So, yeah, he's capable. Stronger every day, I think.
Excellent.
Yeah.
My cat goes to bed when the heating's turned on. What's your thoughts on this game? I'm in limbo, lol.
I really like it. The only thing I feel is off at all about it is that the level progression is too fast. But then that's probably because they made the game shorter.
It looks similar to Fallout. How does it play?
Like Fallout, but better. Smoother. Less janky.
New Vegas.
Yeah, it's the same people that made that. Should let you order equipment when you're in the
Definitely not Fallout 76.
No.
What's this I hear about you ordering more tests performed with sample 4157?
How many hours in are you?
Let the record show.
Is it worth the 80?
Cause of death.
Lots
Cerebral
of
vascular
hours.
incident brought about by a ruptured aneurysm.
That's an 86%.
I figure with a full price game, as long as I get at least 8 hours or so, which is about what you can get from a single player FPS campaign normally, then I figure it's worth the money. So yeah, I'd say I've had my money's worth from this.
What do you think you're doing?
Whatever the fuck I want.
Oh, I guess, never mind.
Fuck is that? Woolly cow. Okay, first time I've seen one of those.
Yeah, that's fair. Is it SP only?
I think it's on everything, if that's what you mean. was definitely a PC version, I think. Actually, no, I'm not sure. You'd have to check.
I got the PC version.
Okay, there you go.
Hey, that's illegal.
Cool, thanks, mate.
Hey, stop that.
Jackass isn't coming!
Oh, oops.
Can't get past that armor!
Zoe loves Dong.
That's the least controversial statement in the world.
What's your view on the Grace Millane murder case in New Zealand?
I can't remember anything about it offhand. I would have to go and look it up. Unless that's the fish and chips murder, I thought that was Britain, not New Zealand.
You must get past that armor! We're not getting through!
Help yourself to whatever you want.
Looks like we're doing this!
I don't want no trouble, so.
No, please! I don't want to die! You know, Vic, starcher than a Spectrum potato, but you got a mean left hook, and I respect that.
I've never been compared to a potato before. How wonderful. They are simplicity personified, aren't they?
Forget I said anything. Let's just move on.
Okay, not helpful.
What do you think you're doing? Oh, my mistake.
Where'd you get your schooling, Max?
Nowhere special, Mr. Millstone. An OSI seminary, same as my peers.
They teach you science there? You know, test tubes, formulas, all that sundry?
Among other things, including a rigidity of thinking. Why do you ask?
You got any...
What do you think you're doing? Just be careful next time.
subjects should keep him busy.
Nicely done.
Okay, unconventional route, but I'm in. Well, I just kind of semi-accidentally murdered a bunch of people, but that's greater good.
You don't think much before you act. Oh, do you, Mr. Millstone?
This is what you call one of them rhetorical questions?
Oh, don't misunderstand me. I am actually curious. I find...
No, that was the... something else. Grace Malone. Don't know, lots of people do enjoy choking, and it does seem to be a particular fetish amongst women more recently for some reason. So it's possible, but then the way he acted is peculiar. And sorting that whole mess out sounds complicated. I don't see how you could rightly fix it. Well, not fix it, but figure out what was going on.
Michael Hutchins.
Yeah. I mean, to make any kind of judgment, you'd have to know her sexual history, whether she was into that sort of thing. You know, there's too much to figure out.
abandons at...
Try anti-fear.
Why can't something exciting happen around here for once?
Incoming! Don't mess with us!
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship. If you don't mind my saying, Captain, you have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
No one ever looks quite the same in person as they do in my reports. And my reports of you have been exceptionally thorough. You've had quite a career. You have something I want. I'd like to negotiate. Phineas Wells is wanted by the board. I want to convince you to turn him in to us. He has a litany of charges against him. Vandalism, illegal experimentation, sedition. I could go on. Wells is a dangerous madman. His plan is going to endanger everyone in Halcyon. He's an obsessive psychopath. And he's using you. You're in contact with Wells. I want you to send us a tracing signal from his communication terminal. You're making a serious mistake.
Adjutant Akande's call has been terminated. Will there be anything else, Captain? We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
since optimized my formula. I'm now confident I can revive the remaining colonists. All I need now is the dimethyl sulfoxide. I'll take as much as you can give me. What? Oh, yes, well, that's obvious. Anyone with 2 working labs can see this colony's slouching toward oblivion. Why do you think we've been doing all this? I revived you to help me save Halcyon from annihilation. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that Halcyon's on the brink of total collapse? And the chairman's plan to save all of us is to save himself? I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but I never imagined we were already there. The board made this crisis, and now they want to solve it by freezing the rest of us? That's not a plan. That's a goddamn escape clause. That makes 2 things we don't have: time and chemicals to revive the other settlers. None of this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to revive the Hope's colonists. We were supposed to have enough time to solve the problem before we all starved. Human test subjects? Oh, that's grotesque. That's unthinkable. That's exactly what I'd expect out of the board. Thank you. You've brought me enough chemicals to get started, at least. I'm just sorry they came at the cost of human lives. Those poor people, they must have died in agony. What exactly was the board trying to accomplish? You say the board's trying to freeze their subjects over and over again without inflicting permanent damage? Well, they're nowhere close to solving that problem. I'll tell you this much. The board scientists are hopelessly lost. After years of fruitless experimentation, they've made exactly 0 progress. We're out of time. We're out of chemicals. We may very well be out of options. If the board has their way, we're all going to be spending the rest of our lives frozen in stasis. Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? The board's going to kill them all. Toss them out into space, just to make room in their hibernation chambers. Short of lining up every member of the board and shooting them in the back of the head.
Sounds good.
Do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds Earth ever sent us, uncorrupted by the board. The board's going to dispose of them all and transform the Hope into a prison for the rest of us. They're likely on their way to the Hope as we speak. We need to get to those colonists before the board. I have enough chemicals to start reviving a few of them, but no easy way to get them off the Hope. Merciful gibbering law, you're a genius! We bring the Hope to us. Skip the entire ship across the distance of colony space, right next to my lab. Yes, exactly. You're a step ahead of me, but I perceive the shape of your plan. If we link up the Hope to the Unreliable, then use your navigational computer to calculate a reasonably safe vector, we can skip the entire colony ship into the rings of Terra 2.
And that's going to work, without killing us in the process. I thought intra-system micro-jumps were prohibited for a reason.
Yes, there's always a risk of a catastrophic collision between the Hope and, say, Terra 2, in theory. But you'll be fine, provided your calculations are correct.
I've got a healthy disregard for personal safety, but this sounds crazy, even to me.
Your instincts are correct. By any reasonable definition of sanity, this plan is crazy. Isn't it wonderful? You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the Unreliable. Then head to the bridge. Your navigational computer, Ada, should be able to activate the Hope's skip drive. Once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab, I'll have easy access to the frozen colonists. I can start reviving them immediately. Certainly. How can I help? It wouldn't surprise me. When I pulled you out of the Hope, the board nearly intercepted me. I expect they stepped up security since my little act of larceny. Skip drives were never designed to be used within a system, but I skipped my ship across Halcyon when I rescued you, and that turned out fine, mostly. That is, I ruined my ship and nearly killed myself in the process, but the maneuver was well within acceptable margins of risk. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Unlikely. The Hope is as massive as the Groundbreaker, but compared to the rings of Terra 2, positively minuscule. The board might notice, possibly, depending on the position of their heads relative to the depth of their collective posteriors. I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The Hope is carrying some of humanity's most brilliant thinkers, scientists, engineers, experts in their field. If we work together, we can still find a way to save Halcyon. The board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond saving. I choose to believe otherwise. If there's even the slightest chance we can save Halcyon from oblivion, then we have to take it. Certainly. How can I help?
Can we talk?
Right. Save time, and then next session sounds like it'll be the end. So I'll see you later.